fishing bridge piers, you're actually talking about fishing the entire length of the bridge, the piers, and even in between the piers, which can be a considerable distance that we'll get into. So that's another thing we'll talk about. But one of the things that I have found about bridge pier fishing is like so much of it centers around water clarity. Having the right water clarity around a bridge pier is the key to its productivity, because in my personal experiences, I have found that you need to have a window of like 3 to 10 foot of visibility in order to catch a lot of bass on a bridge pier. Maybe not quite 10, maybe closer to like 6 foot of visibility. 3 to 6 is perfect. If you get like super clear, like over 10 foot of visibility, you can catch some fish on them, but it doesn't seem like it's quite as good. And if you have less than 3 foot of visibility, it doesn't seem like a lot of bass use bridge piers, except for the piers that are shallow, like against the bank. But the piers that I'm talking about specifically in this video are the deeper piers where those bass will suspend around. So if you've got a dirty water lake that has 12 inches of visibility and you've got one of those shallow piers that are up in like 3 or 4 foot of water, yeah, you can catch some fish on them. But for the most of the part, you're gonna need to have 3 to 6 foot of visibility. That just seems like that water clarity window that pulls in a lot of bait fish and the bass, in general, and gives them that comfort range of being able to suspend in that. Another thing that's going to help out your bridge pier fishing a lot is if you have spotted bass in the lake. If you have a mix of largemouth and spotted bass love bridge piers. In fact, there's probably, if you have a lake that has anywhere of a close to an equal, dispersion of largemouth and spotted bass, most of the bass you catch on them are going to be spots. The spots just love bridge piers. So any lake that has a diversity of species, largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass, they're going to be better bridge pier fishing lakes. Not to say that you can't catch them strictly on largemouth, but that's sort of been my experience with it. Now, another thing is time of the year. Fish will live on bridge piers all year long, but for me, the best time to fish a bridge pier is in the summer and the fall time of the year. You can catch them in the winter, you can catch them even in the spring sometime of the year, but the larger numbers, those bigger schools of fish, use those bridge piers when the water's warmer. And we're talking big schools. Guys, I have caught 50 and 60 bass on bridge piers many times, many times, and probably could have caught more if I'd had a different lure selection. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for those times when those fish are really schooled up around those piers. So summer and fall is going to be your best thing. Okay, primary baits for them, and then we'll talk about how to approach it a little bit. This is going to be primarily a finesse